In the spring of 1775, British General Thomas Gage received information that American militia had hid hundreds of military supplies in the town of Concord. Seeking to smother the American rebellion, Gage secretly sent 700 regulars under the command of Lieutenant Colonel Francis Smith to Concord. Joseph Warren, a known Patriot leader in Boston, sent Paul Revere, Samuel Prescott, and others to warn the militia of the attack. So it was that when the regulars passed by Lexington on their way to Concord at around 5 a.m., they were met by around 75 militia. Not wanting to start a war, John Parker, the captain of the militia, ordered his troops not to fire first. As the British army passed by, a British officer ordered the militia to lay down their arms. No one knows who fired the first shot, with both sides claiming the other did, but whatever the case, that first shot sparked the revolution into being. As the regulars charged, most of the militia scattered. Jonas Parker held his ground, declaring, "I will not run." He threw his cap down, held the musket to his shoulder, and fired at the British. He kept loading until, at long last, the British bayoneted him and he fell. In total, 8 Americans died. As the British marched towards Concord, more and more militia troops flocked to Concord. Entering Concord by the North Bridge, the British split up and searched the town, finding 3 cannons and over 500 rounds of musket shot. The British threw the musket shot into a pond and destroyed the cannons. Because of Paul Revere and the other riders, most of the supplies were already stowed away. 400 militiamen approached the rearguard of 95 British stationed at the North Bridge. The Americans, not knowing of their own being killed in Lexington, again ordered their troops not to fire first. As they approached the bridge, the British fired. The militia followed suit, killing many soldiers. The British retreat east out of Concord. They needed to cross a narrow bridge in order to return to the main road. As they were crossing, 1,000 militiamen rose from the hills and forests nearby, firing on the British column. In disarray, the British continued to retreat. It seemed to them as if every bush, tree, fence hid an American militiaman. Approaching Lexington, John Parker and his men returned to continue what they had started. Colonel Smith was shot off his horse as he tried to rally his troops. Fortunately for the British, General Gage had sent reinforcements in the form of Earl Percy, his 1,100 men and several cannon. As the disorderly mob of British troops neared Percy's line, he ordered his cannon to fire on the militia, forcing them to take cover. The British army began to march back to Boston, with the American militia still firing from every side. The fighting grew more intense as they neared the town of Menotomy, with militia hiding among the houses to harry the British. The regulars eventually broke through and were able to retreat to high ground protected by the HMS Somerset. Tired and footsore, some of them having marched for over 18 hours, the British army was shocked and ashamed that they had been so defeated. 250 of the British were killed or wounded, plus 19 officers. The American casualties, including wounded, did not exceed 90. This officially began the war for the freedom of the American colonies. It all started because the British were going to steal American supplies, guns, and ammo. This shows us one of the biggest reasons why the Second Amendment is important to Americans, to defend themselves from those they justly considered tyrants.
We can look to the example of our forefathers for the principles to uphold today.